go provide more value to the world and do it on the internet. Like, this is not something that we should be scared about doing. Go out there. You have a lot to say. You have a lot to share. Go share it.
I was getting nervous. I can't start it, man. I can't start. All right, we'll go for it. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Answering Legal's Everything Except the Law podcast. I am your host, Nick Worker. And for those new to the show, this is the podcast where we share expert advice on all the parts of running a law firm that attorneys weren't exactly trained for back in law school. This is our second episode for it. We're joined by Robert Gruler, who is the founding partner at the R&R Law Group. Now, Robert is a very talented lawyer, but the reason we've invited him on our show today is because of his extensive video marketing knowledge. He's going to be sharing with us today how creating video proved to be a major game changer for his firm. And later on, he's going to tell us about a coaching program that can help attorneys get started with video. I have Robert with me right now. How you doing today, Robert?
Doing real well, Nick. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. It's great to be here with you.
Awesome, man. So I know, and I got sort of introduced to you via the guy that I work with, Joe. He wrote this extensive blog post. I still remember it. It was like 4 or 5 months ago. And I just remember in it, he wrote that you make 50 to 60 videos in-house a month. So that's a lot. Can you tell me a little bit about your firm's experience with video and how you got to that point of creating 50 to 60 a month?
Yeah, it was a long road. This was something that sort of happened by accident. Back in 2015, when we were starting our firm, people were talking a lot about online video, and we had just started our law firm. We were founded in 2014. My first actual video I posted in, I think, late 2015. And it was kind of a joke. I mean, I tell people now, go back and look at it. Like, if you think that your videos are bad, go back and look at my first video. I use it as an instructional tool. I'm standing there in front of a wall that I had painted gray in my house for some reason. And I was using a camera that was out of focus, and my clothes were all puffed up and all out of the place. And my lapel mic was, the cord was like sticking way out. It was terrible, but it worked. We actually put that video on YouTube, and not a ton of lawyers were doing that at the time. And we started getting clients from it. And I was like, that was pretty easy. And so for some reason, it didn't click right then, but I made another video. And then in 2018, I really kind of started recognizing how powerful this medium was. For the next couple of years after 2015, we were, moving offices and laying the foundation for the firm. So I wasn't super involved in marketing. We were doing a lot of paid marketing, and I was trusting a lot of the gurus, a lot of the pay-per-click people, a lot of the SEO people. We got totally just taken advantage of by a lot of these different companies, because that's what our coaches told us to do. They said, just go hire somebody to do this stuff. You're a lawyer. You should be a lawyer. You shouldn't think about your marketing. Have someone else think about it. And we made a ton of mistakes doing that. It was not the right approach. And so in 2018, I just basically fired everybody. And I said, I'm going to start taking control of our marketing and our video marketing in particular. And so I started personally learning how to do video marketing. So I would actually, script the videos. I would make my little whiteboards where I would write my notes, and I would record it, and I would edit it, and I would upload it and do the descriptions and do the whole thing. It was a one-man show. And when I was doing that, my volume was actually pretty good. I kind of made it a full-time, I must do this. It was one of the most important things that I could do for our firm. And so I was doing about 20 videos a month. So my release schedule was one new video every weekday. And I did that for almost about a year. And then we decided to hire somebody to help me do that, to actually come in-house and start helping me produce these videos, help me script them and then edit them. So basically I was trying to systematize it so that I could only just, kind of sit down in front of the camera, do the video, and then pass it off to somebody else. And so we brought in Faith, who is, incredible. She does amazing work, and she helped us scale it up to 60 videos a month. And now, you don't even know this, but we're putting out about I want to say about 50 pieces, 25 to 50, depending on the day, every day of content. So we are now taking, one big long video, splicing it up a number of different ways. And so, on a monthly basis, across all of the different social media platforms, we're putting out about 200 pieces of content a month now. And our team has evolved, and we've got, virtual assistants, and we've got more help, but it's a slow process. It's taken us now about, kind of 2.5 years to really build out the system.
It's so funny because, like I was saying, I read that blog post that Joe made, and I have, first of all, Faith, when you inevitably watch this, I have to tell you, I'm so incredibly impressed by you because, and obviously you too, like you're on the show. I can tell you that I'm impressed by you, but
listen, I'm impressed by Faith too. She does stuff that, she's integral to what we do. And the learning curve for her has been a lot too. She didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. And so we're kind of building this together, and what she does, what she brings is just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, we totally stole our process basically from you. And we just finally got around to doing it. Like I kind of, you've inspired me now. I want to go back to the first video I ever made because it was me and my boss, and we had just started, and we're in a blue room. We painted it blue, and I think we had those like whiteboard like stickies that you could put on the wall. We bought a bunch of those for like $20 at Staples, and that's what we wrote on. And my first video was I was trying to teach lawyers how to do like Facebook marketing, but back in the day when like it actually you could do it on Facebook without spending money. And
Right.
like I slicked my hair back with all this gel, and I'm wearing a suit, and I have like no microphone, and but like people watched it. It had like hundreds of views, and it sure, it helped somebody along the way. I mean, I've taken it down now because personally I'm embarrassed, but you've inspired me. Maybe I'll put out like a whole thing on like, we did this and it worked, and this was 2016 around the same time. So I feel less ashamed. I want to watch yours too, though.
It's rough, man. And I leave it up there. It still gets views. And it's a progression. Every time I make a video, it gets a little bit better. My speaking gets better. I'm a little bit more articulate. I've evolved as a content creator over the years, and some of that is just, you have to just do it. I mean, it's really difficult to get started because you have those concerns. You're sort of self-conscious about how you're going to look and sound, and what are people going to think. And it will dissuade a lot of people from doing it. And it's a shame because it's just like repetitions. The first time you go to the gym, after you haven't been in a while, it's rough. It's hard. You wake up the next day, everything's sore. You can't move. It's terrible. But you fast forward 2 weeks and you've been going every day. Suddenly you can throw weights around. You can run longer. You perform much better. And it's the same thing with this content creation thing. So you just got to get started.
Yeah. And for anybody that's watching this and sees this as sort of impressive, I can promise you there's at least one cut in this video where I'm going to mess up something, and it's going to be really funny, and it's going to make it on a blooper reel for the internal people who work here to laugh at me. But like, if you're watching all those videos, like I have a friend who makes like those, he sells courses, right? We're going to talk about your course later on in the video, but he sells courses. It's trainings for lawyers to do all sorts of stuff, right? And because I know him, I can see where the videos are cut and where it's edited and where he like stuttered and messed up. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to get it all. None of this is in one shot. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you mess up and you want to start completely over, I recorded a video that was an intro for the channel. It took me like 3 hours, literally, because I haven't practiced in a long time. I haven't been on video, and it makes me nervous. I'm just that type of person where like, I can talk, but not perfectly all the time, but whatever. I'm going to get back to the questions. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I think that's a great point. And let me just touch on that quickly. So it is, especially when you're starting out, I would do the same thing. When I would set up the camera, I mean, even when it's not recording, you're looking at the lens. That's the camera I use now, but you're looking at the lens, and it's a scary thing, staring back at you, and you have to perform and you have to turn it on. And people think that lawyers, because they went to law school, and there's this public perception that lawyers are like, Harvey Specter on Suits, like they just come in and just crush things, and they're always on point and always articulate. That's not how we are. And I wasn't like that, and I'm still working on that. But you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes are sort of something that I encourage people to embrace. And because it's authenticity. When you're making content for social media, you don't want to think of yourself like a CNN anchor or somebody that has to be 100% focused, on point, zero mistakes made. It's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. That's where you're putting these things. People want authenticity. They want to see you as a person. They don't want to see that lawyer, in a suit and tie in front of a million books, scolding people to do this and do that. That's not effective. They want to build a relationship. And that's why video marketing is so powerful. So if you try to overproduce it, I think you're actually hurting yourself. And I do a live show now, and I make a ton of mistakes in the live show. And last week I did an episode where I was trying to do math for some stupid reason. The reason I went to law school is so I never have to do math. And I was trying to do math on the fly on this live show. And I was totally wrong, like not even close on my calculations. I was trying to do some age and some years and stuff. And I was like off by a decade. And, every single comment on YouTube is, you don't know math. This lawyer's a moron. Why would we ever trust him for, he can't even do math right and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's part of the deal, right? If you're going to be putting yourself out there and putting content out there, then people are going to, really latch on to your mistakes. And certainly when I read those comments, I go home and I'm like, man, I'm a loser. I'm terrible at this. But, I'm also trying to develop a thicker skin and just recognize that you're going to make mistakes. It is not going to be perfect. And I tell people all the time, done is better than perfect. You just got to get it done, put it out there. And, social media and the internet, it's really kind of fleeting. Most people will just look at a mistake that you make and they'll just keep scrolling on their phone and they'll go to the next story. And you're forgotten about, but at least you captured that view. At least you made, your online net, your online content is just, you're expanding it every single time you do that. And you're also getting another repetition. It's just like a gym. You're getting one more rep. And then by the end of it, you're just improving across the board.
Yeah. Joe, Joe and my boss who are simultaneously my editors. They're my worst critics. They tell me I'm a loser. And then, I go home and I cry a little bit. But
we all do, man. It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game here. I want to talk about the success of your firm specifically over the past couple of years, and specifically how it relates to your video marketing. So are you finding that a lot of clients are reaching out specifically because of your videos?
Yeah. So just our internal numbers show, on average, about 60 to 70% of our new business is coming either from YouTube or it's directly related to the videos. So, many people don't know this, or maybe they do, but Google owns YouTube. YouTube is really the second biggest search engine in the United States by many metrics. And what often happens is, people are either searching on Google, which, we all know is the de facto search engine. It's got, 80+% of the entire market. So you want to be winning there, but they're either searching on Google or they're searching on YouTube. And if you do a search on Google, oftentimes Google's actually pulling in the results from YouTube and just shoving them right on the first page. And so what I talk about and try to teach other lawyers to do is to make very specific videos on YouTube that are going to match the keywords that their potential clients are searching for. And then they're going to show up in both places. Their videos are going to show up in both places. So, I've got strategies on all that and we can talk about it, but what ends up happening is people will they're not subscribers to our channel. They're not, I'm not building an audience, a following. I'm creating content specifically for our target client, and I make it easy for them to find, so that when they do go to Google or YouTube, they're finding our videos. And they go to YouTube. We have people who tell us all the time, man, I was watching your videos for 5 hours last night. I've got 50 something videos about DUI law. They watch every single video. And so when that person calls our office, of course, they are going, they are primed. They're ready to hire, they are ready to rock and roll. And so when I say 60, 70%, I'm not joking about that. And that is literally funneling or fueling 22 employees that we have here. And so it's substantial. This is a big deal. And I would credit YouTube to, for a huge portion of our firm's success. It's very, very valuable.
So because it's so valuable, right? I know that, and you just said this, you have like 22, 23 employees. So give me sort of a rundown on how your firm manages to create so many videos each month And how many people are typically involved from start to finish in the production of each video? Like how many people have to touch it?
So at this point now, what we're doing, we've got an entire flywheel built out. We have a pretty substantial team sort of working on it now. We've got um, basically what we've set up, and I'll run through it quickly. Is now that our firm is big enough, and now that I have so many additional resources, we're really scaling this up. So if you're if you're new to video marketing, I would not encourage this amount of volume. You got to work your way up to this, but this is where we're at now. This is how we create roughly, I think we're at 50. I don't even know right now how many pieces of content we're putting out every day, but it's like 25 to 50, I think, on a daily basis. It's a lot, and they're spread out all over the place. But anyways, I asked my team to help curate questions. So now we have a lot of people working. We have a lot of people interfacing with our clients. They're getting asked questions every day. Clients are asking our team questions. People are posting questions on Avo, on Justia, on FindLaw, on all these directory sites. There's a ton of people who need help, and they need their legal questions answered. And so what we just do is we curate those questions. So for me, I have my entire team curating those. If they get asked a question, we ask them to put it in the Slack channel, which automatically queues it up into a list. And then basically, myself and Faith, we go through and we say, good question, already answered that one, good question, no, right? And then we've got some research assistants who are law school students. So we've got some 2L law school students who will help answer those questions. They'll create some PowerPoints. They'll help do some of the background research on it, meaning I'm not needing to do that. Then what they'll do is they'll draft up a PowerPoint. They'll draft up some notes. I'll review it. I will then actually record the video. So I'll sit down and do it. I pass that back off to Faith. Faith is now sort of a project manager. So she used to do the editing and the uploading and the descriptions and all of that. Now she's really kind of managing that. So we've got a virtual assistant who is based in the Philippines, who does all of the grinding kind of hard work, the editing, the clipping, the uploading, the time consuming stuff. And then Faith just manages that and just sort of, she's the orchestra, the conductor of the orchestra. And she's just telling, which person, what goes where and that type of stuff. She keeps it all organized. And so, it's roughly 4 to 5 people, I would say, involved in the whole thing. When I do the live show, it's really just Faith and I. She helps me do some of the production, and then I just boom. There really is no editing, there really is no research. It's a lot more topical stuff. So it's just her and I. I hit record. She takes that live show, passes it off to our VA in the Philippines. Well, she watches it. She tells him what to clip up. So she'll say, I want these 10 different clips from the show. Then he splices them up and uploads them. And we just have this little assembly line going now, which is what you need to build. But it's a lot to sort of get there. It's a lot to figure out how to in a way that works for you. You have to make sure that, this comports with your schedule and your resources and all of that.
Yeah, and it also has to align with the goals. I'm sure like you even said before, your goal is not to build an audience of subscribers and have people come back to the channel and turn on your notifications and like the video and subscribe. But I am, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to find this audience base. And so the processes are a little bit different, but I think it's a good thing for people to see where you can get if you do sort of set up a process in the beginning and really stick to this thing. So speaking of that, I want to talk about some of the, not really setbacks, but what are some of the things that you found that were really difficult when you first started creating video, and what you sort of did to overcome them?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and it actually segues perfect into your prior point about focusing on subscribers, focusing on certain of those kind of vanity numbers, those vanity metrics. When I first started producing videos, I was sort of infatuated by that number. I wanted the likes, I wanted the subscribes, I wanted the shares, because to me, that's what I thought was valuable. That's what everybody wants. You want to build that audience. And we are building an audience now. The live show and the topical stuff that we're covering is for that purpose. It's to build an audience, and really we're, subscribers and all of those other vanity numbers are important, and we're working towards those now. But that's not where the meat and potatoes of our video marketing success exists. It exists in these smaller, highly targeted, highly focused niche legal videos, because that's what your clients are looking for. I mean, for us specifically, Somebody who's charged with a DUI, they want to know about DUI law. They don't care about me talking about George Floyd or police misconduct or, all of the other things we talk about on the Watching the Watchers show. They want answers to their legal questions. Now, that person who comes to our channel and wants that information, they've been charged with a crime. This is the worst experience of their life. They want the information and they're going to bounce. They do not want to subscribe and come back and rethink about all criminal legal issues. They're fleeting. They come and go. And so originally I was focused on, my mindset was a little off. I wasn't thinking that way. I wasn't thinking about creating highly targeted, highly niche videos. And really that's where the success is. So we've got about 450 videos that answer substantive legal questions. And that is where the success comes from. The thousands of people who watch the live show, they are never going to hire us. They're just there for entertainment. They don't have a criminal charge. They're not going to convert into a client. But the people who, I'm providing value in my videos, I'm saying, you've got a DUI, here's what you should do. And they're not 2-minute videos. They're 8-minute, 9 minutes. Some of my highest viewed videos are 30 minutes long, all in one take, because it's a keystone of this whole thing is you have to give them valuable information. You can't do the 90-second, BS, I'm a great lawyer, I care about your case videos. Those don't work. And so once that mindset shifted a little bit and I said, okay, I don't care about views at all. If my video gets 50 views, that's beautiful. That's highly targeted. That means that every single one of those 50 views was somebody who was charged with that particular crime. That's who I want to talk to, because those are the people who I can help. I know my firm can help. So that was a big sort of mindset shift for me. And I think that, a lot of the other lawyers that I work with, it's a mindset shift for them also. And then the second thing is staying organized. This is something that I've never been particularly interested in doing myself. We've just been cranking out the content. And then once I started learning about how to optimize content and how to, write titles and tags and descriptions and all of the things that you need to do to optimize it so that they're actually found, I go back and I look at all the content we've created and I'm like, like what a mess, because it's so disorganized. And it's a shame. It's a shame because that content could be doing better. I could be squeezing more miles out of it if I would have been better organized. And so that's something now that I'm like, very rigid with. I want everything in spreadsheets and numbers and, I want all the data organized in one central hub, because staying organized allows you to just get more, use the same content and get a lot more out of it.
I'm the same way. And I hadn't been involved in video for a long time, but I can so relate to this. I'm big in content marketing. That was my thing. That's how I made my living for a long time. And when I first started, I was just so focused on like next blog post, next web page, put it up, I didn't care. I didn't care about the title. I really cared about like meta descriptions. I'm sure you know what that like the short. I cared so much about all that stuff. And I look back now, I'm like, this is such a good piece of content. And I really could have done more to promote this, circulate it, make sure people are reading it, optimize it, just getting it out there as opposed to just moving on to the next thing. So I think that's a really good point that you bring up is like somebody might hear from this video and their takeaway might be, I need to create 50 to 200 videos a month. That is not the case, right? What we're talking about here is highly targeted stuff. If you can only make one video a month, but that works for you and you can get a lot of mileage out of that, by all means, keep doing that. Make your one video a month. And eventually you'll have a process and you'll get organized and you'll know, right, you'll learn what works better for you. This sort of title brings on this sort of customer. And I should put all caps here. I watch a lot of YouTube gaming stuff because I'm a huge nerd. So like I kind of get like the clickbait essence of it. And it's funny, the guy who edits this with me, we're like going back and forth about, should we do like a thumbnail, how like, like a gamer would do it with like an explosion, or should we just do like, a kind of professional? We had this whole argument about, because it was our first episode. But I do want to ask you, because I've spoken to a lot of people. One guy that comes to mind is like Jerry Oginski, right? I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. I subscribe to his channel. Yeah, he does a ton of videos. Yeah,
he does a ton of videos.
Yeah.
And this guy, I have regular interactions with him on like my Facebook group, and I'm friends with him on LinkedIn, and I see this guy all the time. Jerry, if you're watching, big fan.
Yeah, very, very prolific. Yeah, and I thought I was putting out a lot of content, and I stumbled across him probably in your group or your page or whatever, and I was like, whoa, this guy's like blowing my content production out of the water. So I was trying to learn what he does too.
So yeah, exactly. I've taken a lot from him, and his big thing is the production value doesn't matter. Just open up your iPhone, take a selfie video of you talking, and upload it to YouTube, like with the right title. Talk about what you would normally talk about, and source the questions like what you're talking about. Go on Avo, go on Justia, go on what's that thing? Quora. You know, like people ask
Yeah,
a ton, or Reddit. You know what I mean? Like r
yeah, legal
slash
advice, Reddit. Yeah,
yeah. I've been on it.
yep.
And I don't know if I'm fully on board with that, right? Like I'm not going to just take out my phone and go live. I don't have an audience like that. I think that sort of is Jerry's shtick, right? Like nobody cares what his videos look like. He's on the beach with his earphones
Yep.
in, and he's just talking. He's like, I'm on vacation right now, but I'm here to talk about this. So I want to get, I want to get your point of view on what the production quality of a video should be, because it seems like, and we were talking about this before we started recording, is like nice microphone, nice camera, nice setup. Like what would you recommend is the level of production quality that you would feel comfortable watching someone's video and not going, I wouldn't have done that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'm not super dogmatic about it. I think that there are a number of different ways to do it right, and if that works for him, some people I think are of the mindset that they don't want to sit down at a desk, they don't want to put the earphone on and do the mic thing because it's just not a good fit for them. And so if they feel more comfortable on the fly doing it, and he can produce a lot that way, then that's awesome. If that's the type of personality you are, like if you're feeling inspired and you're on the beach or you're walking around your house or you're out at Starbucks or something and you want to record a video, boom, get it out. I'm a huge proponent of done is better than perfect. You got to do something. You got to at least start playing the game. And if you are somebody who's going to get caught in the weeds about audio and video and lighting, I mean, I've had people in my program who join the program and they don't make their first video for 6 months until 6 months later, and it's like I'm yelling at them, start doing something. I don't care what it is, but they play the paralysis by analysis type of game, and they're trying to get the lighting just right and the video just right and the audio just right, and they never end up doing anything. And I think that is a huge no. I mean, you have to start getting in the habit of getting those repetitions in. So an iPhone is great. I mean, it's as good as a webcam, if not better than many webcams, and the video quality looks great. You don't need all of the high-tech gear. I'm recording this right now on a Logitech Brio, just a webcam that I'm talking to you on. For some of my higher production quality videos, I use a Sony A6400. But for people who join my program, I don't recommend more than really $200 worth of equipment. I think just a simple webcam is good, and I'm a big proponent of good audio. I think you can watch a video with mediocre camera or lighting or anything like that, but if the audio is bad, it's really hard to watch a video. So I also just recommend a USB microphone that you just plug right into your computer, and you just a lapel mic, you just clip right on. And for most people, that is perfectly adequate. That's all that you need. And overthinking it is just, you're going to get in the weeds and you're not going to get it done. And one of the biggest components of what I teach is volume. You really got to put out a lot. Because if they're going to be so highly targeted, if they're going to be so niche, you need a lot of those in order to capture a big group, right? If every single video is getting 50 to 100 views, you're going to need a lot of those to get up to the volume that you're going to need to sustain your firm. So much like you, I was in the same boat. When I was just creating content, I was just doing it to just create it and post it, create it and post it, create it and post it, just to, a shotgun approach almost, to see how much I could get out there, cast a very wide net. And production quality, I am a fan of it. I like to sit down. I like to set up my backdrop. I think about, the clothes that I wear. I think about my background. I want my background to convey authority, but I want my personal, outfit, how I look, to be approachable, to be friendly. So, I think about those things. And for me, it's comfortable to sit here. Another, I just keep going on and on and on about it, but I optimize my recording environment to be easy to use and easy to assemble. So, I don't have to move a bunch of equipment around and spend 25 minutes setting up my situation. I just pull my boom mic around, flip the camera over my screen, audio's all ready to go. I can basically be production ready in like 5 minutes. So if I am feeling inspired, if I am feeling like I'm just going to shoot something real fast, I'm ready to rock and roll. So, those are just some of the considerations that I think about.
I I like everything you said. But the boom mic, I need a boom mic. I need a new boom mic. No, not a boom mic. I need a boom stand so badly. This one is so broken. Like, I'm afraid if I tap into it, it's gonna like fall over. But we're not gonna talk about that.
Well, plus they just feel cool. It feels cool to have a microphone right in
Yeah,
front of your face,
I
and
want
you
the
feel
one that,
authority.
like, I feel like a streamer. Like, I want to be able to, or like the guy from like let's get ready to rumble, and then just like
Yeah, 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 yeah. Your
oh,
announcer.
that's what
Yeah.
I want so bad. I got it. That's my next investment. But the one of my favorite podcasters, and you touched on this, is always like, you don't need the best video recording, like camera, anything. Like, as long as I can make out that you're a human being, and like, even if it's a little bit grainy, like, I'm not expecting Hollywood, cinema quality from you, but audio is really important. Like, if I'm
Yep.
gonna stick my headphones on and listen to somebody talk, I do not want it to sound like crap. Like, if I put it
Right.
on in my car, like, I have a lot of choices of stuff that I can listen to, and to me, that's the preferred medium, right? Like, even if I'm watching a video, the real sustenance of the video is the audio to me. So if you sound bad, that, to me, that's a big turnoff. So
Totally agree. I think it's very important, and I encourage people to spend a lot of time on that, because I'm the same way. The video is nice to see somebody moving around, but you're really watching it to hear what they have to say. So that needs to be crisp.
And I think one of the things that you talk about that is sort of one of those things that holds a lot of people back is, like, sure, I'm going to create the video. I can cut it, I can edit it, I have a process. I'm not worried about that. Once I have this video, what do I do with it? I can post it to YouTube, but how do I, and that to me, that's like one of the roadblocks that holds people back is how am I going to get this thing seen? So in in your expertise, right? How do you go about, and especially in the beginning, right, when you first started out, how would you go about trying to get your videos seen?
So the way that I do it and the way I teach it is to really, really get clear on what niche you're serving. And you need to format your video in that way. So the example that I give when I'm talking to people is, I say, many people, let's say you're in the market for shopping for a new car, right? And you say, I want a sports car. So you go into Google and you type, I want a sports car. Okay, you're going to get, a gazillion different options, right? Buy a sports car. Okay, you're going to get all of them. Pick a model. Well, that's not really that focused, right? It's too general. So if you're trying to compete for sports car, you're not going to do well. If you make a video and you review a sports car, there's going to be just a million videos that you're competing with. But if you make a video about a Lexus, one specific model that has this feature on it, and also has a sunroof, and also is available on a lease, and you also want that in Scottsdale, Arizona. You see how specific that is. So if you're making a video about that one particular model, you're not going to get as many views as you would get from somebody looking for a sports car. But the person who's looking for that Lexus in Scottsdale with a sunroof, with the whatever other amenities they're looking for, when they type that into Google, the only video that's going to pop up is yours, because you're the only one who made something that specific. And so if you make videos that are that clear, so for a DUI example, right, if I'm representing if I'm making videos on DUIs and I say DUI defense, well, that could be applicable to anybody anywhere in the United States, in any state. And I'm not licensed to practice in every state. I'm only licensed in Arizona and California. So if I make a video about DUI defense on a first offense, super extreme DUI with no prior convictions in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I put that in my description, and I make it very clear. I use that language. I use that in my description on YouTube. I used hashtags that say Scottsdale, that say first offense DUI, that say Lexus sports car with a sunroof, whatever that is for your practice area. That's how it's going to get found, because you're looking for the people that are searching for those very, very, very specific keywords. And so Google will take that video and they'll put it on the front page of Google. People on YouTube will find it. You'll be recommended when somebody's watching somebody else's videos that's related to that. And so that's how you get found. And when you do that, so at volume, one of the things you have to do in all of your videos is provide value. So you have to actually answer the question that people are searching for. You can't do the 90-second stuff. But if you do that at volume, meaning you're doing, like I said, 20 videos a month, or where we're at now, 100 pieces of content a month, the net is just so wide. So you're capturing a lot of those little people in a lot of the lower views, but the highly targeted searches, those are going to convert into views on your channel. And that's where you really see the ROI. Those people will convert into clients because you're helping them. They build a relationship with you because you're giving them information. You're not asking them to call and schedule a free case evaluation or a free consultation, or, don't pay unless we win, or any of that stuff. You're saying, here's what you need. Here's how I would address this problem if I were in your shoes. Those people get an emotional connection because you're helping them without asking for anything. They pick up the phone and they call. So rather than encouraging people to be worried about subscribers, I see a lot of attorneys, I need to get 100 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers or whatever that is. That's good, if you're in a practice area where you're going to have repeat business. If you're a lawyer who does business law and you're always analyzing contracts or doing something like that, that makes more sense to go after those people. But for me, our clients, hopefully this is the only time they've ever been charged with a crime. For somebody getting a divorce, hopefully that's the last time they get divorced, right? And they're not going to need your services again. So when you make content for that, that's really where you start to see the value. And I just encourage people to keep that in mind, because it's very easy to get distracted by those vanity metrics.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I've been with my company, Answering Legal, 6 out of the 7 years, right, that they've been open. And I mean, that's how we basically developed a niche, right?
Yeah.
We sort of understood that we wanted to be relevant. And one of those things that, like, you're talking about is being relevant in the search, right? So like, if somebody is looking for a first time offense, DUI, Scottsdale, Arizona, like, and that's what you're writing about, it's highly relevant. And what we were doing is sort of the same thing. We were trying to get in front of lawyers, so we started making our content more about lawyers. And then as we took on more lawyers as customers, we were like, well, forget everything else. This is what our business is about now. We're fully specialized.
Right. If you try to be everything to everybody, then you're really nothing to nobody. Right. You need to be something. You need to be clear on what that is. And for us, we've just picked criminal law. We're really focused. We don't take any other types of cases. We're really, really clear about what that message is. And people value that. They like the content that's made for them. They feel like, oh my gosh, this is the only person who is answering this question. Of course I'm going to call them.
Everybody wants an expert. Yeah. Like,
right.
You don't want somebody who dabbles in it. You want somebody who does this every day of their lives or life.
Right.
And truly makes a vocation of it. And, and that's my bread and butter, man. Like, one of the things that we preach is we only answer phone calls for attorneys. I won't get into my whole sales pitch, but there's a reason that, like, we're such a trusted name now, is because we actually do that. We make a vocation of it and people trust us. And so, like, you're doing the same thing. I encourage people who want to get into the world of video marketing, find what you're good at, find what your specific vocation is, and then make, like you're saying, make the videos about that specifically. But we have been dancing around this, so I do want to address it. Is we've been talking about your course that you offer for lawyers to get sort of what I would call, like, jump started into the world of video marketing. So tell us about your course, what you offer for people, and what they get out of it.
Yeah. So thank you for that. First of all, it's sort of what I wish I would have had when I first started my video marketing journey, because I've learned so much over the years that if I could have if I could rewind the clock, I would have done a lot of things differently. And so with the courses, it's sort of the 9-step process that we go through internally here. From, how do we script videos? Where do we get the content ideas from? How do we, actually write sort of what I'm going to be talking about? From to recording it, what equipment do you need? How to do the editing yourself, or if you have somebody in your office, you can just pass this course off to them and say, you're going to learn how to edit my videos and upload the videos and all of that stuff. So I encourage lawyers to join the program so that they know the sort of the principles of how this all works, but they don't necessarily have to do all of that nitty gritty stuff. They can have somebody in their office do that. But then, from there, it's uploading it, optimizing it, getting your transcriptions done, where to post it, how to post it, frequency, all of those things. That's all in the base course. But then in addition to that, we do 2 live coaching calls every month. So we've got an office hours call. These are group coaching calls. So during the office hours, what I'll do is I'll get on and I'll answer questions from the different members. So it's an hour, and we've got a private Facebook group for the members. And so I'll go through there, and if there's questions, I'll answer those questions on that call. Or if there's people, members on it's a Zoom meeting, if they have questions, we'll just talk through them on that call. The second live call is a coaching call, where it's more sort of lecture style, where I'm sharing what's working for us in the firm, or what I'm working on, or how we're evolving our content production, or other things. Like I've also talked about direct mail. People don't think about it, but we do a lot of direct mail, offline strategies. It works very well for our firm. So I talk about those strategies. I talk about some of our hiring processes, our internal procedures. It's kind of a law firm in a box type of thing, with a really strong emphasis on video marketing, because that is truthfully the most valuable thing that I do here at our firm is create this content and provide value to our potential clients. And so, what I was thinking when I created this is, it is a scary thing for a lot of lawyers to start saying, I'm going to get out there and start making videos. Like I said, not every attorney has that Harvey Specter sort of mentality that they're just going to be a performer. And so what I wanted to do was create a community where people could kind of feel a little safer, get some support from one another when they post their videos. Everybody can rally around them and go and like and subscribe to their channels, and just, like a 24/7 rally for us to all, get enthusiastic and excited about our content creation. And so it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's not my primary day job. It's kind of like a fun little thing I wanted to do, because I wanted to build a community that I wanted to be a part of, in other words. And so we've got about 25 members now. It's growing. I have done almost no marketing for it. It's all organic, word of mouth stuff. So it's small, it's kind of tight knit, but it's a lot of fun. I would encourage people to check it out. It's very inexpensive right now because we're not marketing it. I'm not spending anything. It's all organic. So it's very inexpensive. It's $99 a month right now. If you want to join, it's over at grulermethod.com, and you get all of that stuff. Basically, the other reason I built it is because I wanted some training materials for Faith. I wanted to show her how I do and think these things, and think through these things. So I was building this course almost as a training module for my creative director, my right-hand woman, the person who takes all of my ideas and turns them into a reality. And so we actually had our coaching call yesterday, and I interviewed her. So I was showing other lawyers, this is what she does. This is how she does it. She showed us around. She did a show and tell of how she organizes her calendar, the tools she uses, and how she processes everything. And so I think that was very valuable to them, because another thing I'm a strong proponent of, I should have hired Faith a long, long time ago. I waited too long. I encourage other lawyers to not wait as long as I did, because it really will make your life a lot easier.
I really want to join your group. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is fun.
And I got to say, the Harvey Specter reference is spot on. Like, I think we build it up in our minds, right? I have to be this guy. I have to be the most impressive person you've ever seen get on YouTube. And I don't even know why that is. Like, obviously I'm not a psychologist. I'm not even going to get into it, but I really like the idea of you built this course that sort of teaches everybody everything that you wish you would have known. Like, if you could go back in time and watch this course, you'd be like, oh, that makes total sense. I won't have to make this mistake, this mistake, this mistake, and this mistake. I could sort of, and a lot of people don't do this, is they're like, you got to make your own mistakes. You got to figure it out. Like, nah, I could learn from that guy's experience and get a little better without having to, injure myself or really like just make a ton of errors. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. You can cut out the middleman in a lot of ways like that. And I was gonna say if you could give me an elevator pitch, but you said it's grulermethod.com, right?
Yep.
To get in touch with you. And then what was the other thing I wanted to ask you? Oh, the number one thing. The number one thing. If you could go back in time, right, to when you first started making videos, what is the number one thing that you wish you would have known when you first started?
That is a really good question, and there is a lot. I truly, I mean, if I could have rewound the clock, I took a huge hiatus from 2015 to about 2018. I put my very first videos up in 2015, and I didn't sink my teeth into it until 2018. It is the best thing that we've ever done for our firm, without question. So if I could have gone back in 2015, I would have smacked myself and said, "You start doing more of this faster and better, and you need to hire more people to help you scale this up quickly." It would have been a much more primary focus than it was, because, you think about it. I mean, there are drive around your city, look at all the lawyers who are paying for billboards and commercials and bus ads and, on the side of buses and all of this stuff. Like, they pay for that every month, and they pay a lot of money for that. All the pay-per-click people pay a lot of money for that. You're paying, for SEO and all of that stuff. YouTube is, for our firm, is basically free. Okay, so when I told you about 60 to 70% of our revenue comes from YouTube, we don't pay to host videos there. We don't pay to post videos there. The only thing that it costs us is my time and, FaceTime and the rest of our team's time. And it's really pretty minor in terms of the ROI that we get out of our efforts. And, what you're creating here is an asset for your firm. When you're paying for a billboard or for a bus ad, that stuff, if you stop paying for it, it goes away. It's gone. So you got to pay to play. When you're building a YouTube channel, you own that content. I mean, YouTube technically owns it, but the videos are yours. If YouTube cancels you, you pick up your videos, you take them over to Wistia or Vimeo or one of these other platforms. But I mean, that's your content. You're creating some value, and every time you add more content to it, you're enriching your asset. It's developing, it's maturing, it's becoming more impactful, more powerful. So that's probably the biggest sort of mindset thing. I think a lot of people who are thinking about getting into this are going to continue to delay. They're going to say, now is not the right time. Something is always going on that's going to make it difficult for you to do something that's uncomfortable for you. And so I'm always now I'm at the point where I'm always pushing the envelope. I'm always trying to make myself a little bit uncomfortable and do things that are a little bit different. If you go back through my channel, you'll see that you'll see my very, very first video, which was a disaster, but you're also going to see another 20 videos that came after that were in a total different format that wasn't right for me. I had the green screen background, and I was doing the flashy stuff, and I was trying to be somebody that I was not. But all of those videos are still there. And my channel's taken multiple evolutions throughout the career of video production. But the biggest thing is, I would just really encourage people to just get started. It's not really a flashy answer, but it really is. I mean, if I would have started in 2015, the market was even less saturated than it is now. Every year that passes, and I've covered this in my coaching program, and you can look at the charts, look at the graphics, more and more lawyers are getting into video marketing. You fast forward 2 years, all of these new law school graduates, everybody who's coming into the market, they're all going to be these younger millennials. They're going to start doing this marketing. So for the people who are, really scared about doing this content creation, in my mind, this is how it's going to be. So you need to really sort of make a decision. Do you want to play that game or not? And if you do, you got to get started quickly, because I did it myself. I waited 3 years, and I followed a lot of bad advice that I'm a lawyer, I should be a lawyer, I should outsource all of this marketing. And it just was a gigantic mistake. And I want to help people avoid making that. So, my takeaway is, get started. Done is better than perfect. You just got to get going on it.
You basically took the words right out of my mouth, because like a lot of what I do is SEO for the site. I do like SEO, I do content marketing. I make sure that we're ranked really high. People are able to find us, that whole spiel, right? And the whole time you're talking, I'm thinking about, in my experience, that's what Google was for us. Is
Right.
there were 2 entire years that I was here working at this company where we barely even had a website, and we were still like, people would call us and hey, I heard about you from here. What's your website? I want to check. We didn't have a website. But even if you look at like, I'm on SEO forums all the time. I honestly, it's one of the things that I do all day long. And people will talk about, I started my website back in, 2001 when all this stuff was just unpopular. And I'm so glad I did. Like, now I have all
Yeah.
this giant, just giant like library of resources on stuff that they published. And it's just made their website that much more powerful. And they're like, I owe it all to just listening and posting stuff back in the day when nobody was doing
Yep.
this. And I see that sort of happening right now on YouTube.
Yes.
And it's crazy how it evolves, right? Like, you have a course, and every time that I watch a video on YouTube, there is somebody trying to sell me a course
Yep.
on something. And to me, honestly, I have a full-time job, and so I don't want to like trade watches or like set up an Amazon, like what do you call that, passive income business. I don't
Yeah.
know
The
if that's a
affiliate
scam.
marketing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even know if it's a scam because I'd never tried it out. But like, I have never seen something that has grabbed my attention more than that. And I get so sucked in. Like, my wife comes up to me. She's like, what are you watching? I'm like, it's an ad. And I look down, it's 3.5 minutes. I've watched this guy talk to me for 3.5 minutes on YouTube, and it's an
Yeah.
ad, right?
Yeah.
So if we all get involved in this and start getting really good at it, it's even a great place to advertise. You can make 10-minute long advertisements on YouTube, and if somebody doesn't hit skip ad, they're watching that.
Right.
So I related to that so much because I just think like I could have gotten started blogging and doing web content for my company back in 2013, and we really started in 2015, and then I made a lot of mistakes. I could have got 2 years out of the way. And it's
Yeah.
just like the hardest thing to do is to start, right? Like, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step, but like, the first step is, and if you're nervous and you want a community of people, like, I'm going to join this thing. This sounds like a lot of fun, and it's $100. Like, I'll pay you $100.
Yeah.
Me and Joe are going to come on it. And, I mean, it just, the way you're doing it makes it sound more fun, right? Is I don't have to do this thing alone anymore. And,
Yes.
I can definitely get started. But even my dad used to say this to me when I was a kid: go do something, even if it's wrong. Right? I would like
Yeah.
be in my house, like twiddling my thumbs in the summer, like bored.
Yeah.
Go do something, right? Just go make a mistake. Just go put
Right.
something on YouTube, like, don't be
Right.
racist and like put some crazy stuff on there, but
Right.
make a video about what you do and see what works for you and what doesn't. And you're never really going to find out what works for you and what doesn't until you actually do something about it.
Yeah, and it's a cool experience too. Once you get over that hump, like you said, the hardest part is getting started. Once you get going, you'll get momentum with it. There's no question about it. I mean, I'm kind of at the point, where I've been out. I was out at a dinner with a gal that I was dating very briefly, and the waiter came up and he was like, "Hey man, you don't know me, but I watched one of your videos and it helped me through a really hard time, and I just wanted to say thank you." And it was the first time that this had happened to me, and I was just like blown away, by this. I was just putting content out there like I'm supposed to be doing this. I hadn't really thought much about it, but that happened to me early on in my production, and and then something clicked. It's like I'm actually helping people. That guy didn't hire us. He didn't need, he didn't convert into a client or anything, and that's fine. But I was able to help him through a difficult situation. And as soon as that clicked in my head and I saw that this was really impacting people in a positive way, now you're like, okay, who else can I help? What else can I talk about? What else can I answer for the people who need to know it? And then you get that momentum and it becomes easier, and you get positive feedback and positive reinforcement. So the program is to help kind of jumpstart that a little bit, make it less scary to get out there and post your first one. If you're worried about likes and views and those things, well, you just post it in the Facebook group and we'll all go watch it for you and we'll all like it for you and we'll help you through it. And if you've got, some mindset issues or anything you're struggling with, chances are there's other people in the group who are also struggling with that. And so we can just rally behind you and help you get on your feet.
I can't, first of all, I can't agree with you more. Second of all, I did a live webinar at the start of the like crazy nationwide quarantine with this whole COVID thing, right? I did a live webinar. A guy named Andy Stickle from social media or media fire starter. I'm sorry, Andy. I just
Yeah,
butchered.
I'm
Yeah,
familiar with Andy. Yeah.
awesome guy. And we did a live webinar, and at the end we're taking these questions, and people are like, I'm an estate planning attorney. I don't know how to get clients right now, and I just don't want to prey on people's fears. And to me, like, that's the essence of what we're doing here. Is we're not preying on people's fears, we're helping people, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to help somebody, you have to let them know what you're good at and what you can help them with. Like, nobody wants to write a will. I never want to do it. It's going to be an unfortunate day when I have to go into my estate planning attorney's office and write a will. Thankfully,
Right.
I'm kind of young right now. I don't really have to think about it, but like, that's something that eventually we all might have to face, right? But that's
Yeah.
why you're there, you know. And people get caught up in this whole like, you know, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what this is. But like, our purpose is to help people. We put out this content so that we can help somebody. It's not all about the ROI all the time. You don't have to feel like you're
Right.
money hungry by making a video. You don't have to put money behind it. Like, you can just start by sincerely offering your help. And you talked about this at the beginning of what we were talking about, is the sincerity matters. You know, like,
Yeah.
no one cares that I'm wearing a $10,000 suit. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
You're wearing a polo. It's a cool polo, by the way. It's branded. I could tell, but like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that much. The sincerity is really what people are after, and really what I feel that people who are worried about stuff like that can really offer to their audience.
Yeah. If you just look at it and you say, you know, is what I'm putting out there, is this going to help somebody? Is this going to answer a question for somebody? That's the right formula. If you're being valuable and you're providing information, you know, a lot of lawyers, because there's some truth to this, right? I mean, our knowledge, our education, our background, our ability to solve legal problems is what makes us valuable. You know, we're not out there building houses or fixing cars or delivering food. We're thinking and we're solving problems based on the knowledge, our knowledge of the statutes and how the courts work and all of that stuff. And so many lawyers, in my experience, have been sort of protective of that. You know, they want to keep that information. They want to keep it behind their closed doors, behind their locked, walled off garden, so that if somebody comes to their office, yeah, sure, I'll let you in here. I'll give you access to my wealth of knowledge, but you got to hire me to do that. And that's kind of the old model in my mind. That is not how this is going to work anymore. Now it's about opening that garden up. You gotta put that information out there, and you say, here is exactly what I would do in your case. You know, if you have this charge. I made a video on photo radar. Right, everybody hates photo radar, and it's a 30-minute video, and it's got thousands of views. It's one of our most viewed videos, and people watch all of the 30 minutes, and I don't hide anything. I tell them exactly what to do. Even if you hire us, this is exactly what we're going to do. Here's how to go do it on your own. And I made the video because I got tired of these phone calls. Actually, I got tired of so many people calling us, asking us to help them with photo radars, which is really not our bread and butter. I mean, we're very good at it, but they're low, like they're not that interesting cases. They're traffic ticket cases. And so, we can't get really excited about them, but we help people through them. But my point is, people will watch the full 30 minutes and they'll still pick up the phone and say, I want to hire you. How much do you charge? Because we were giving them the information. We weren't hiding the ball. We're being very transparent about it. And people value that. They expect that in today's new marketing. So, your point is absolutely right. I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I'm a practicing lawyer. I have a whole law firm here, and I'm talking to you about how to get more clients, because I know that the way that I'm doing it is the right way. I feel like I have a lot of good integrity by telling other lawyers, go provide more value to the world and do it on the internet. Like, this is not something that we should be scared about doing. Go out there. You have a lot to say. You have a lot to share. Go share it. And your business will do better. Your clients will be happier, and the world will be a better place because less people will have problems that you're help solving.
I don't know why we feel like we need to hide the secret sauce, like the recipe.
Yeah.
And I used to be this way too. I didn't want to put out any content, right, on my company's methodology for performing a legal intake on the phone. I didn't want to do it. I was like, other companies are going to copy me. They're going to steal it. They're going to do it the same way we do it. And it's not, first of all, it doesn't even matter, right? People are going to do that anyway. But the other thing is if I tell people that's how I do it and they like it, they're going to call me. And the other thing is is like, I would still call you too. You know, if you told me all this stuff about like photo radar, like as somebody who is the sufferer of the photo radar, I still can't go to court and do that myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there's no reason to hide the ball. If you're a personal injury attorney and you take somebody through your process of what you're going to do, they're not going to be able to go to court and do that themselves. They're still
Right.
going to hire you to do it, you know? So it's like, and it's so the new way to do things is give someone all the information that they need should they be able to do it. And then like, you're the expert. That's the whole thing of now the way that people want to be marketed to. And, that's just how I know you know what you're talking about, is because I think that I know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we have a
But
lot. Listen, we've all kind of gone through that progression. I mean, I was like that too. You know, I used to try to hide things and keep them close to the vest, but it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, think about how many times you've gotten information that was like insider information that was probably very valuable to somebody, and you didn't take any action on it. You know, you said, "Oh, that's interesting," but I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm just going to do it my own way because I know better. Right. So, you know, you can tell somebody, I'll have any of my competitors in my program. I don't care, because, you know, for most people, they're going to do it differently than me. They're going to do it just a little bit differently. You know, their opinions on the law and how they explain things and their personality and everything's going to be a little bit different. So if you're just providing value, then people are going to respond to that. You don't even have to worry about or get in the weeds of, you know, this is proprietary information. I mean, I could tell somebody, listen, this is exactly what I do. If you go do it, you're going to have the same amount of success that I have. I have a bunch of members, and I tell them this all the time, and they still don't do it. You know, I mean, they're paying for the information and they still won't do it. So being transparent, being authentic, I think it's what people expect nowadays, is what I expect. It's how I respond to certain things. I really don't like people trying to promise me something and deliver something else, or the sales games or any of that stuff. You know, build a relationship, provide value, and you'll reap the benefits for sure.
couldn't agree more. Robert, I want to thank you so much. For anybody watching, this is the second episode. So Robert, thank you for being on the second episode. GrulerMethod.com, $99 a month. Get started with this guy. He knows what he's talking about. And I'll be there, and we're going to have a ton of fun talking about video marketing. But again, I really appreciate everything you spoke about today. And, thanks for coming on.
I really appreciate it, Nick. I love the work you're doing. I follow your work. I think, you know, I think what you're doing to help more lawyers do marketing the right way is a really great service to lawyers, because lawyers get preyed upon by these big marketing companies who just want to just literally drain them of every dollar that they have. They promise all these really good things and they don't deliver. So I appreciate you, you know, allowing me to come and share my experience. And I appreciate the work you're doing and just trying to, you're living it, man. You're putting out value, you're providing information, you're having conversations that need to be had. I love it. And I'm going to continue to follow along.
I appreciate that. Everybody, if you like the channel and you want to see more stuff, you know what to do.